So he was one of the security guards. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because in his film Rise of the Foot Soldier, Carlton actually plays out a scene from this party. And it's one of these moments because on what happened on that night at the Chapter of Chapters in Ferry Lane was that Carlton took his first MDMA tablet. He took his first E. And I remember I was at one point, I was walking through the crowd, and I remember I looked over and I could see him. And he was actually, it wasn't even at the door. He was actually in the crowd and he was dancing his tits off. And I'm sure I mentioned it in my book, but I didn't mention who it was. So this is the first time I'm actually declaring that that chap in my book, the security guard that I observed, who I previously observed to be quite a violent, dark East End gangster, was dancing, and he was without inhibition. You know, he was dancing his tits off, and you could see he was happy. And I made a comment, I think, in my book saying that when I looked at him and I said something to the effect of, if MDMA can change a man like this, you know, this hard-edged man, it can change anybody. And this was his first actual ecstasy experience. Again, and the reason I'm mentioning it is because the last time I spoke to Carlton was years ago, a decade ago or something. And he said to me, it was by telephone. I just happened to be in a room and he was on the telephone to them and they said, "Oh, Wayne's here." And we had a conversation and he said to me, "Have you seen Rise of the Foot Soldier?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And he said, "Did you see the Genesis part?" And I said, "I'm not sure I saw that part." And he was like, "Yeah." He said, "You know what? I was in the club." And he said, and it's the scene where he takes a knee for the first time and he's in the club with his black mate and they're standing there. And at one point he turns around to his mate and he says, "I love you, bruv. You know that, didn't you?" And then that whole scene of these really hard dudes like, "Yeah, mate, I love you. You know I love you, didn't you? Yeah, I love you, mate." You know, and that was a shared experience for so many males. It didn't matter if he was hard or not, but that was a shared experience for so many males that we all had.
Anything to do with a certain religion, do you think?
No,
Is it anything
is it?
like that?
No, it's more to do with a kind of a drug, isn't it? It's a drug.
Yeah, well, those that take it want to ought to be ashamed of themselves.
According to The Sun, there were thousands of empty ecstasy wrappers littering the floor of the 250-foot-long hangar.
Drugs, sex, sensation.
Some newspapers have called acid house music a sinister and evil cult which lures young people into drug taking. The message is certainly getting across.
The organisers kept the location secret until the very last moment, which was the main reason, according to the